With all the excitement stemming from Star Wars The Force Awakens relating to the new Supreme Leader of the First Order, Snoke, fans of the franchise have been running rampant with theories as to who he is, the most popular being the Darth Plagueis theory. With this theory, the character of Darth Plagueis has become more commonly known, and audiences worldwide are anticipating some form of appearance from him, whether he is Snoke or not. Even with all this new attention for the Dark Lord of the Sith, most people know very little about him, as he has had very little exposure in the Star Wars universe. However, this ends today as I break down Darth Plagueis' life in an effort to inform you about the infamous Sith. The story begins with his mother, a young Force-sensitive Mun, who was compelled by Darth Plagueis' soon-to-be master, Darth Tenebris, to seduce Kar Damask, an unknowing Force-sensitive who worked in a mid-ranking position for the intergalactic banking clan his entire life. Out of this evil trick, our Sith Lord was born. Darth Plagueis would be given the birth name of Higo Damask on the planet of Mygeeto, where he would grow up a seemingly normal life under the watchful eye of Darth Tenebris. Higo wasn't always aware of the darkness he was imbued with, but it would start to slowly show itself in his life, most notably when he was able to persuade one of his childhood friends to throw himself unwillingly from an incredibly tall height, killing himself. It was around this time in his life when Darth Tenebris would take Higo under his wing, giving him the new name of Darth Plagueis. Darth Tenebris would teach Plagueis in the ways of the dark side, cultivating his force powers and introducing him to the manipulation of midichlorians. The two Sith would go on to spend years together, working to destroy the Republic and the Jedi Order as Darth Plagueis grew to despise Tenebris and the rule of two and becoming obsessed with the study of the Force in an attempt to unlock the key to immortality through midichlorian manipulation. Plagueis began to seek the opportunity to betray his master and further his quest for power. On a mission that seemed like any other, Plagueis and Tenebris arrived on the planet of Baldemic to inspect the mining facilities of the very precious material known as cortosis, for they were worried that the Jedi Order was responsible for the mining and taking advantage of the cortosis's natural ability to deflect the lightsaber blade. Tenebris was of the opinion that he would be able to gain control over the cortosis to help pursue his goals of destroying the Jedi Order and create a Sith Order to rule the galaxy. At this time, a probe droid mining for cortosis hit a pocket of lethane, a naturally occurring gas that is commonly found in the regions near cortosis, causing a huge explosion, forcing Tenebris and Plagueis to flee back to their ship. In their efforts to save themselves, they were not fast enough to outrun the explosion, so Darth Tenebris used the Force to contain the explosion, ensuring the survival of himself and his loyal apprentice, while Plagueis protected their ship from the blast. The physical toll this took on Tenebris was substantial, and Plagueis saw his opportunity to end the reign of his master and become the true Lord of Darkness. As debris was falling from the sky, a wounded Tenebris attempted to get himself up. Plagueis used the Force to change the direction of the falling debris to crush Darth Tenebris, but made it look as if it was a natural occurrence, as Plagueis ran towards him to appear like he was trying to save him. The mortally wounded Tenebris held on to his last moments of life, as the once cautious Plagueis was so tempted that he revealed the reality of what had just happened to him. He told Tenebris that he was going to put an end to the rule of two, becoming the one true ruler of the galaxy, conquering all obstacles, including death, and proceeded to snap Tenebris' neck, killing his former master. As Plagueis witnessed his master's dead body, he took the time to study his midichlorians, even trying to test his ability with midichlorian manipulation to make himself more powerful, but this was with no success. Plagueis would then go on to return to his homeworld under his birth name Higo Damask to return to his business at Damask Holdings. During a meeting that was held between many important financial leaders in the wake of the events at Baldemnik, a heated argument broke out about the issue. This angered Plagueis, and he then threatened to kill everyone in the room, and in an attempt to save their lives, they gave Plagueis information about a large plasma load on the planet Naboo, and promised that it would benefit him greatly. Plagueis then spared their lives, but sent them to a remote planet as to not be disturbed by them, and keep them alive in case he ever needed them again. Eventually, though, he did go on to kill them, as he found he did not need them anymore. Before Plagueis would make his journey to Naboo, he would be confronted by Darth Venomous, a different Sith who had been secretly trained by Darth Tenebris without Plagueis' knowledge. Venomous would force Plagueis to spar off in combat, only to get bested and be forced by Plagueis to swear allegiance to the superior Sith. Once Venomous had done so, Plagueis then forced him to poison himself, and kept his dead body for further experimentation with midichlorian manipulation. Plagueis then proceeded to hunt down other Force users that had an affiliation with Venomous, and kill them to eliminate any more potential threats. Eventually, Plagueis arrived on Naboo. The once isolated planet would now be free to partake in intergalactic trade and tourism under a new elected leader named Bon Toplo. Naboo would become a thriving planet and stable to the intergalactic economy, with newfound wealth due to the plasma reserves Plagueis was promised boding well for him. During this business venture that had worked so well for him, he noticed one of his new political allies standing out to him. This was a young man named Sheev Palpatine that even from a distance was able to impress Plagueis with his cunning and incredible power in the Force. Plagueis affiliated himself with Palpatine, becoming a father figure to him, while Palpatine had many issues with his real father, who did not want change for Naboo and would often fight with him. This worried Palpatine's family, and his father asked him to put an end to his relationship with Plagueis, as they could sense the danger ahead. This angered Palpatine, and in retaliation, he killed his entire family. Once Palpatine enlightened Plagueis on what had happened, Plagueis congratulated him on the events that had transpired. Plagueis then revealed himself as a Sith Lord, explaining the nature of the Sith, and took Palpatine under his wing, giving him the name Darth Sidious. For the next several years, Plagueis would train Palpatine in the dark ways of the Force, watching his apprentice grow unlike any other before him. As time passed, Darth Plagueis would increasingly become more obsessed with learning the secrets of immortality, tending to ignore his apprentice. While Palpatine had a thirst to learn more than his master was teaching him, often going out on his own and immersing himself in darkness, and even finding a future apprentice in the form of an infant Maul behind Plagueis' back. When they were working together, they focused on obtaining power, becoming stronger in the Force, and climbing the political ladder as Palpatine became a senator for Naboo and secretly killed off their political opponents. During one of these political killings, at an Order of the Canted Circle ceremony, Plagueis was attacked by hired assassins, and although severely wounded, was still able to fight off his enemies with the help of Palpatine, who left no evidence, leaving no survivors. This injury changed Plagueis' life, forcing him to wear a transpirator on his face to keep him alive, and traumatized him, making him incredibly alert at all times, even forcing him to renounce sleep, spending all his time trying to reach his goal of achieving eternal life. It was around this point when Plagueis had some success in his work, resurrecting the long-dead Sith, Darth Venomous, only to realize that he could only resurrect him the one time, incapable of making him immortal. Decades pass, and we now find Palpatine with a new height in his political power as a member of the Senate, running a campaign to become Supreme Chancellor, with Darth Maul under his tutelage. Plagueis was much older and weaker now, nervous that he would not be able to complete his life's mission of gaining ultimate power and immortality. During this time, the two Sith became aware of a young slave named Anakin Skywalker found on the desert planet of Tatooine by the Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn that had the highest recorded midichlorian count they had ever seen. Plagueis was absolutely certain that the child was a byproduct of his manipulation of the midichlorians, creating him purely from the Force. He was convinced that this boy was the key to his success, while Palpatine saw this as an opportunity for himself. Palpatine knew that he no longer needed Plagueis to help him gain any more political power or power in the Force, and saw Anakin as a key future ally and did not want it ruined by Plagueis. As the old Sith Lord Plagueis finally found some form of comfort with this new information, Palpatine was able to coerce him into sleep for the first time in over 20 years by getting him extremely drunk. Following this, as is the way of the Sith, Palpatine electrocuted him in his sleep, torturing and killing him, letting him know how he took advantage of him and how he would become the most powerful Sith to ever rule the galaxy. Right after this vicious attack, Sidious felt great triumph, only to be followed by the overwhelming and unbearable sense of uneasiness. Trying to later convince himself that it was the believed death of his apprentice, Darth Maul, that caused his pain, he suspected, though, it could have been Darth Plagueis himself reaching to him through the Force beyond his death. So that was the story of Darth Plagueis. I absolutely love Darth Plagueis as a character and as one of the most intelligent and sinister Sith to ever live. The very interesting but widely unknown story of Darth Plagueis is one of my favorite. So what do you guys think? Is it possible that Darth Plagueis was able to achieve some form of immortality through the Force? Also, do you think there is still any weight to the Snoke-Plagueis theory? And if not, when and where do you think we will see him again, if at all? Please let me know in the comments what you think. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.